Hi, I'm Tony Waiters and I've been in the soccer game for a long time. In fact, I think Noah was my first coach. Actually, that's probably not true. I believe it was Moses. So you've got the job, possibly because your son or daughter is playing soccer for the first time. Or maybe you got the privilege of being the coach because nobody else would. So what should you do? Well, the first thing to do is panic. Just joking. So being serious, you're bound to be a little apprehensive. I still am even today, just before going onto the practice field, but I think I'm a better coach because of it. So what we're going to do is dispel some of those misgivings and provide you with a formula that not only works, but makes it fun for you and the kids as well. The golden rule regarding soccer and children is kids love to play. So that's what we should do. The practice sessions should be as game-based as you can make them. Try to put everything into fun, challenging situations. First of all, take a look at this. This was from a video we originally shot in the early 90s.
You're watching a game that was invented by the children of the great soccer-playing nations of the world. In Europe in the past, and in the breeding grounds of the great players today like South America and Africa, youngsters play and enjoy endless games of three-a-side soccer. Many emerging nations can't afford extensive youth soccer programs. Often there are no coaches. There's nothing except a small makeshift field, a ball, and kids who love the game. Yet with no coaching or organized leagues of any kind, these countries are producing some of the best players in the world.
Well, the fact that Africa and South America and so-called third world countries are producing world-class soccer players is in many cases for the wrong reasons. Many of these kids live in poverty, have limited schooling, and most don't have the distractions that many children have in the Western world, simply because their parents don't have the money to buy things. So the kids play endless games of unpressurized soccer, and they have the heroes, and the game is an inherent part of their culture. We don't have that situation in the United States and Canada. What we do have are a lot of coach-dominated sports. So the message is quite clear. We have to give the game back to the children. But we have to do it in an organised way, as children, to start with anyway, won't know where to start without some help. I've called it creating organised spontaneity, which is an oxymoron, but I think you'll understand what I'm trying to say. In the mid-80s, going back even further than the video, we got into the book publishing business. The first book we produced was co-authored by former United States Soccer Federation Director of Coaching Bobby Howe and myself. We called it Coaching 6, 7 and 8-year-olds because at that time, that's when children first began playing soccer. We've since updated the book to include 5-year-olds. Today, soccer programs for children are starting younger and younger. In fact, we also have a program called One with One for 3, 4 and 5-year-olds and their parents. But for the purpose of this online clinic, we're going to assume that children are coming into a club-type program at 6, maybe 5 years of age. What we must remember is that a 6-year-old is 50% older than a 4-year-old, so we must be very aware of age considerations and also the early experiences a child has gone through or not gone through. For instance, one 6-year-old with older brothers or sisters who already play soccer will probably be very different than an only child of the same age going into a soccer program for the very first time. In both the book and the video, we tried very hard to encourage the coaches to give the game back to the players, and in doing so made a case for small-sided soccer. And that will be the recurring message throughout this clinic. So we've zeroed in on 3-a-side and 4-a-side soccer, either with a goalkeeper or without a goalkeeper for our youngest players.
Kids of 6, 7 and 8 really have one or two close friends. They are not at the stage of ganging around with a group of 8 or more like teenagers tend to do. In the game we're seeing here, 3 players make the triangle, the basic tactical unit of soccer. Better than that, every player in a 3 versus 3 game has a role, not to mention multiple kicks of the ball. Here, the rear supporting players come forward a little too much and gets a bit square to the player with the ball, forcing him to have to go backwards, but that's fine. We let the game become the teacher. Now we are in the 21st century, The small-sided soccer battle has just about been won, with only small pockets of resistance remaining. But it wasn't always the case. Although three-a-side street soccer has been played naturally by youngsters around the world since the game began, it's seldom played in Europe today, and sandlock soccer never has existed in North America. So there's no street soccer. In its place, we well-meaning parents have tried to turn the youngsters into little adults with two large teams on huge fields. The result is the swarm. The swarm moves up and down the field like a vast amoeba. Too many kids all trying to kick one little ball, and who can blame them? Educators and coaches agree that the early learning experiences are the most important. Those are what our children remember best. With nearly half of the kids playing soccer in North America in this age group, we just have to give them a better start. Let me tell you more about the way we've set up this online clinic. We've separated it into 5 parts. This is part 1, giving an overview of the clinic and the philosophy we are suggesting that you use. Part 2 deals with the organisation and pre-practice planning. In Part 3, we'll show you some games that we guarantee will work for you and your players. Part 4 looks at the coaching methodology and links very closely with both Part 2, the pre-practice planning, and Part 3, the actual content of the practice. At the end of Parts 2, 3 and 4, we will give you a short multiple-choice test. You will be asked to print out a PDF from the link we give you, and then you go for it. To check your answers, you will need to go to another link at www.worldofsoccer.com. If you fail to reach the minimum score, our strong recommendation is that you go through the section again and retake the test. Of course, it's your choice. It's the honours system. But there's nothing wrong with reinforcing information that you may not have totally understood. You should be doing the same with your players. If they don't get it right the first time, you should give them a chance of having another go. It's the way we learn.